Nomads is shaping up to be a game-changing DLC, and in this dev diary we get information on the Defender of the Galaxy Ascension rework into an ambition, where there's a whole host of new buffs relying on allies and the AI, as well of course the Paladin initiative, a new ship and leader. Then we'll look at the final new origin, Heirs of the Khan, where you can become that mid-game crisis, and then we'll take a look at the probably very OP military Arkship and Devastator mount, where you get more weapon slots which may let you run down empires, especially if you combine it with the new districts. We'll also then get a look at Nomadic Warfare, as well as the Champions Forge Live, an enclave that lets us pit our fleets against other empires, and then finally the Nomadic Paragons, which all look sick. There's a lot to get into, so let's get into it. Defender of the Galaxy. Cosmogon is here to tell you about the expansion of Defender of the Galaxy. The past couple of years, we've been adding new crisis paths to Stellaris, exotic ways of wrecking the galaxy, some more morally grey than others, but none that would let you be the good guy without lying to yourself. Yeah, that's true. You can maybe play Cosmogenesis as a good guy, but are you really? Building upon the crisis mechanics and systems, the reworked Defender of the Galaxy is what we call an ambition, a new term to encompass paths that unlock specific victory conditions, be they harmful to the rest of the galaxy or not. I really like this. This adds a lot more scope of what they can do. It's not just kill the galaxy, because a lot of the crisis paths are essentially that. This will open the door for a lot of different things. Maybe we can see a megacorp ambition where it's not kill the galaxy, but it's to become rich, become the sole market, or something like that. Defender of the Galaxy. As star nations vie with one another in petty disputes, sinister forces of unimaginable power are arraying themselves against all sapient life. Who will protect us? In terms of vision, Defender of the Galaxy is about being truly good, being ready to sacrifice everything, fighting so that others may live. And this principle is what has guided the rework. There are ways to play around that a bit, but overall I wanted to reward players for cooperating and protecting other empires rather than encouraging total galactic subjugation. As such, Defender of the Galaxy will come with several bonuses to being the custodian, but will prevent you from creating the Galactic Imperium. So there's no ifs and buts. You can't be kind of good and then go evil. This is the true, actual, in Stellaris good guy path. Actually, this time. Galactic Safeguard. Our galaxy is more fragile than it appears. Dangers press in from every direction. Predators lurking in the void. Pirates in forgotten systems. Wars born on pride and fear. And too often, those with the power to act remain silent. We will not stand idle. This is not a claim of dominance, but a commitment to stewardship. Though measured action and shared purpose, we will ensure the galaxy has a future worth protecting. We will do what we must. As with the crisis paths, the Ascension perk will become available after you have picked 3 other Ascension perks, and is inaccessible to genocidal empires, barbaric despoilers, crisis empires, fanatic xenophobes, or inward perfectionists. That makes sense. You can see here the 5 stages of ambitions. There's a lot that we can grab, which looks really cool. While the ambition does not outright prevent you from being a little evil, progressing through it will go faster if you can work together with the other empires of the galaxy and eliminate any arising crisis with extreme prejudice, of course. So the ambitions to gain valor is form alliances, be part of a federation, do not take part in wars of aggression, and these are ticking every month. You gain valor for doing those. If you contribute to the galactic community, you get some valor, as well as destroying crisis ships and countries. As you progress through the ambition levels, you can expect to unlock the old opinion modifiers and damage versus crisis empires, but also buffs to federations, galactic community, diplomacy, and defense structures as a whole. Here are a few examples. Oh, this sounds really nice. Political leaders unlocks the ability to build some structures in allied systems. Yes, I mean, arguably this should not be locked behind this, but I can see why it lets you. And these structures, I'm presuming, are going to be stuff like gateways, hyper relays, which I swear we can already do that to vassals, right? But not allies. And you build deep space citadels in them. That could be interesting. We'll see. You also get 20% influence, which is really nice. Late game, hear me out, guys. Influence is a big issue. If you do longer playthroughs, you're actually just lacking influence, even with the ambition edicts and custodian. You just need influence for a lot of late game stuff that you want to do, like vassal contracts, building orbital rings and upgrading them, stuff like that. You also get a minus 25% in emergency measure cooldown, which is part of the galactic community, which means you'll be able to push more resolutions through quicker, which is quite nice. That's only if you're on the galactic council. Fortified stations, 15% to defense station hull, 10% defense station armor, and 15% defense stations shield hardening, just buffing up your star bases more, which I really like. Comrades in arms, federation territory fire rate 15%. That's really nice, actually. Monthly federation XP plus 2 and federation fleet capacity plus 100. This just buffs up your federation. They're all very nice. Federations, remember, the last tier give you more damage or something when the crisis is happening, so get more XP. It's always nice for them. Highest Office unlocks 4 special custodian resolutions in the galactic community. Hopefully these are very strong, but that'll be nice. I like it when there's those custom resolutions that you can get for these sort of things. No secrets, research sharing from agreements plus 30% and 10% research to researchers. Really nice. The research sharing, if you didn't know how it works, if someone has the tech that you're researching, you get 25% research speed towards it. This is going to go up to 55%, which is very nice. It'll help the AIs build up quicker, but if there's an AI ahead of you or you're playing with a friend and they're ahead of you, this will help you too. If you're thinking about buying Season 10, make sure to use my code EP for Stellaris or use the link in the description. It'll take you to the Paradox store where you'll give the channel a cut of the sale and then you'll get a Steam key in return. It's greatly appreciated and helps out the channel a bunch. Thank you. After becoming the Custodian and creating the Galactic Defense Force, you will be able to begin the Paladin initiative. So the Custodian is going to be vital into this, so you will need to do that. Eventually unlocking unique ships manned by remarkable commanders. More than weapons of war, these ships and those who man them will stand as symbols of hope to inspire the rest of the galaxy and lead your forces to victory. Interesting. So is there going to be a mechanic where you gather your AI up to fight the crisis together? Potentially. Paladin Initiative. With the passage of the resolution, the Paladin Initiative is no longer a theoretical construct but an officially sanctioned project. This marks the beginning of a coordinated effort across member states to develop the doctrine, personnel, and material standards necessary for its realization. While countries will be handling the recruitment of their paladins, we must still oversee the development of a new series of top-of-the-line ships for them to use. While countries will be handling the recruitment of their paladins, so everyone gets a paladin then maybe? But the ship set looks incredible. They might not be as fearsome as a behemoth, but together with your fleets and the GDF, they are more than up to the task of slaying the beast. So here you can see a paladin with one segment. Arguably, is this a Corvette equivalent? I'm not sure. It does have a large slot, 2 mediums and 2 point defense. That's pretty nice. I wonder if you can change it. The armor is actually 6 medium slots, which is more than a Corvette, and 3 auxiliary slots, which is also, I think, more than a cruiser even. We also, of course, have all the components, but then there is an extra component, which I presume is giving this ship a bigger buff. A single Paladin ship will not be a game changer, but with support and a starward commander, they will lead your forces to victory. So maybe this is all about buffing up your fleets. Maybe you can't build many of them. Could be Titan-like, where the Titan gives aura buffs to fleets in the system, potentially. Paladin ships have many unique abilities, the basic ones being the Paladin Aegis, which fortifies the Paladin ship in battle. The Lance of Valor, which deals damage scaling with your diplomatic weight. What? That sounds incredible. Just spam as much diplo weight as you can, all the modifiers to it in the galactic community, and you just do more damage. That sounds OP. And Recall, which lets a Paladin ship retreat from a dangerous situation. Additionally, the ship will receive a 4th ability depending on the leader commanding them, and can unlock a 5th one for resolutions in the Galacom. Wait, so they get all of these abilities? Or is it part of... I think they get all of the abilities. Wow. You'll be limited to building only 1 Paladin ship. There we go. It is only 1. Every member of the Galactic Council will also be able to choose their Paladin. And should the situation be grave enough, Galactic Custodian has the power to assume direct command of all Paladins in order to defend the galaxy. So this is basically saying, expand the Galactic Council so you can get as many council members on there, and then you can actually take all those council ships. So yeah, this is just a singular ship, but it's going to be like, if you imagine a medieval battle where you have the king or the leader in the front commanding with the flag on the horse, buffing everyone up, giving them motivation. Here we can see crisis analysis in the galactic community. I'm guessing this would give you more damage to them the more you do it. Maybe more effort from research or resources has to go into it to get a bigger buff to them because you're analyzing them more. Then you have the Paladin Initiative, which we have 3 focuses: harmony, leadership, field testing, 3 training, synergy, defense and offense, and then direct command. So I'm guessing each one of these are going to buff them in different ways. Maybe the focuses also unlock different components we can add on, and the training obviously is going to buff. Direct command is where you can take control of all of the Paladin ships. A commander will be promoted to Paladin upon being assigned to their ship and receive a new leader trait, as well as a class trait. They can be retrained to receive the class of your choice, but that is an expensive option. So this guy has Architect. Fleets in your system have a minus 15% upkeep. This sounds meh, but actually it's incredible because the most OP thing in late game Stellaris is going above your naval capacity, trying to fund it basically through as much energy and alloys as you can, and just sitting your fleet on the dockyard because it gives minus 25% upkeep. This is minus 15, so it's going to further allow you to build a bigger fleet because the upkeep is less. That's the biggest danger for empires is the upkeep. So that's actually not bad. We can also see the 4 different abilities here, like the shield. Is that retreat? Is that more damage? Is that forging, repairing maybe? Those abilities there. And also they do have 2 traits that I've not seen before. I don't know which one is the architect. I'm guessing it's the second one, not the first one. What does the first one do? Who knows? It's also a corvette technically, and it has 3.7k power. Is mainly there to buff up your fleets. So how do I win as Defender of the Galaxy? Simple. Reach level 5 of the ambition, defeat 2 endgame crisis, and make sure no other crisis empires are left alive. Then abdicate your custodianship. After all, with no looming threats, there is no moral reason to hold on to the extraordinary powers you have been granted. They're still good to be done, but you won't need to stand above your peers to do it. Oh, and for the more impatient ones in the crowd, you'll be able to risk it all and bring forth the endgame crisis early in order to complete your ambition. And if you're bold enough, you might just see 2 of them at the same time. Okay, well, we'll be doing that. So essentially, this ambition is all about the crisis, buffing up your fleets, the empire, the galaxy to fight them together, hopefully. You do have to give up your custodianship though, which is a bit annoying, but it makes sense. Moving on to the new origin heirs of the Khan. Hi there, I am Iggy, and I know what fuels you. Not to be the good guys saving the galaxy, not taking care of demanding passengers or discovering your spiritual roots out in the galaxy. No, what truly drives you is revenge. In Heirs of the Khan, you were once a member of a marauder community. After endless service, it was finally your people's turn to lead the United Clans. Only you were betrayed. Now exiled, you have to avoid hunters. You can see here, you have the Imperium of Aslinor, the nomadic military dictatorship, authoritarian and fanatic militarist with a new civic, or 2 new civics? One looks like a fanatic purifier, or that esque total one. But of course then we have the LIIVEEEE species with a nomadic preference, but then the civic matches the trait, so I guess it's not. I wonder what that is. As the Khan, for as long as there's been a Khanate, our clan has been there. We were there for triumph, the great battles, the rise and fall of Khans. So when the time came to name a new Khan, we stepped forward to claim the throne we helped to forge. This was to be our moment. Instead, we were betrayed. Our closest allies turned the other clans against us. Our elders were slain, the dream we bled for was stolen. Even now, usurpers dispatch their enforcers to hunt us down, as if our very existence offends their stolen rule. We are but remnants of a proud lineage, hunted and scattered. When we return, our vengeance will be tempered in the fire of our rage. Begin. I'm looking forward to this origin. One of the first things you'll notice when starting your Heirs gameplay is a special military contract somewhere nearby in the galaxy. Similar to Forever Cruise, this is a unique contract for Heirs empires. It'll be key that you complete these contracts whenever you can. So you see the Marauders will be sending fleets after you, bounty hunters who will only grow stronger each time you defeat them. By completing these contracts, you'll weaken them and survive to fight another day. Our hostile target turns chime loudly in the Hazurk system as our pursuers appear on the displays. The chase ends here, Exile. With a target lock on your reactor, stand down. Send your leaders. A clean duel, LIIVEEEE against LIIVEEEE. If they lose, we shoot you down. You talk a lot for a dead LIIVEEEE, or a Grand Marshals is not afraid of you. And a really cool background there. These fleets will be a constant threat and opportunity for you until you reach the mid-game year. Instead of the event you're used to from Apocalypse, you're instead involved in the process of selecting this new Khan. It might be you. The Claimants. Event chain drums of war. The cowards to banish us is moving at last. The Vardu, Zaan, 3 warriors gather to appoint our foe as the new Great Khan. For our exiles to end, it must end now. With 10 years to challenge them before this consolidates their power and forever stains our legacy. Set course for Perova. New contract, recover the throne. That's sick. We have to go fight to be the mid-game crisis. I love it. Potentially you can force this mid-game crisis all the time then if you have an empire with this origin in your galaxy. If you now manage to survive the overwhelming firepower of the Great Khan's vision and assemble fleets, you might just get to sound the drums of war. Vindication. The silence over our command bridge shatters as an explosion of messages cascade in. Several clans hail their new champion in riotous clamour and oaths of fealty. We've done it. The throne is ours. Let's sound the drums of war. Become the Great Khan, leaving any federations of galactic community. You get the Khan's throne and ends the drums of war. I wonder if they changed the Khan's throne or it still just gives you damage when you activate it and the ability to make satrapies. It's quite a good relic, so I don't see them changing it, but I'd be interested if they do. You can also select the Era of the Khans is over. Let us show you what Exile taught us. And vengeance has been served, the rest of you may go. So maybe one eliminates the Marauders and one just keeps them and we leave. Now being the Khan is hard work. You have to go out there and gather satrapies. and the other empires might not be happy to help you. Thankfully, your new Marauder friends will supply you with reinforcements, and you have access to civics and traits traditionally reserved for the Khan. Great Khan's vision, damage reduction plus 20, damage versus starbases and wave stations 50%, and 10 commander capacity. The Great Khan traits, immortal until they die like 10 years later. Army morale 100%, ship weapon damage 10%, and subjects are exempt from divided patronage plus 5, so you can make a lot of vassals, get a lot of damage, and you do still have to use armies to invade, whereas the Khan usually doesn't. I hope your ruler doesn't die. Yeah, that could be bad. The galaxy might band together and try to stop you, but that is just because they don't understand your great vision for the galaxy. As being the Khan is a full-time job, it is incompatible with other ambitions like Defender of the Galaxy and Behemoth Fury. Once you've survived the gauntlet that is the early game, you can be your own mid-game crisis, which is really cool. And here is the origin. We of course have the nomadic origin, periodically chased by hostile Marauder ships, may become the Khan if they can survive, and we can create satrapy vassals. We also get minus 30% hyper jump charge time and 30% ship build speed. We also must be militarist and oligarch, dictatorial, or imperial. I like that a lot. And what better to pair it with is probably going to be the military Arkship and the Devastator mount. Here you can see the military Arkships, and unlike the other two Arkship classes, military Arkships are outfitted for combat from the start of the game. This is what I'm a little worried about, because I feel like they're going to be able to run over the AI if they're too strong. So let's see. Here we have the XT489 Eliminator, and the starting solar system's a planetary nursery, a nomadic start. The military Arkship uses Arkship mechanics, unique modifiers per Arkship tier, ship fire rate 5% and range 5%. Tier 1s to 3 will give us military armaments. The military armaments include extra weapon slots that update automatically with newly researched technology. Tier 1 gets plus 4 medium slots. Tier 2, I'm presuming, is not going to be plus 8 medium, but it's going to be the 4 from before and 4 large. And then tier 3 just get 8 large. But I could be wrong. It could have total 20 slots, but I highly doubt that, but we'll see. In lieu of gaining access to various abilities, military Arkships have additional weapon slots that are automatically equipped with appropriate weapons. As previously teased in other dev diaries, Arkship systems allow you to equip the Arkship with a variety of defense and utility components from regular ships, including selected auras from Juggernauts, Titans, and Starbases. These are going to be nutty. You got the Quantum Destabilizer, not sure what that does. Subspace Snare is going to lower FTL speed and disengagement. Shield Dampener will lower shield hit points. Strike Command is going to buff up your strike craft. Subspace Amplifier, maybe move quicker. ECM emitters, not sure. Maybe for energy weapons? Munitions plant, maybe kinetic weapons. And target acquisition array, probably going to raise your tracking. In terms of defense components, each of the below equips the Arkship with 3x large or Orcs version of the latest components from their respective category that you have researched. The Shield Amplifier and Ancient Shield Recharger instead provide shield HP and hardening instead of equipping components. So we got the Shield Amplifier, Shield Overcharger, Armor Plating, Ancient Pulse Armor, Shield Arrays, Sonic Shields, all the stuff. This is basically just to say, I want to build armor. It equips your maximum armor. I think this would be great for Starbases too, hopefully. So you can see here, we have a armor and shield. If we do armor, it does 3 of the armor. For example, Dragon Scale armor would go on there with 5% hardening and 2,925 hit points. In addition to utility modules we have been showing off, Arkships can also equip weapon modules. These equipped an appropriate amount of turrets, depending on the turrets the weapons themselves use, automatically upgraded with your latest technology. As you can see here, it has everything, but they have actually given like new art. The laser battery is different, but you can see all the mounts, the missiles, black, kinetic, and strikecraft are all there, and you can basically tell the AI what to build on the Arkship. Of course, Arkships can't be outdone by a Titan, so they have the Devastator mount. Yes. It's going to cost you Unity alloys and rare crystals. It's going to take a long time to build, but gives you an additional T-slot weapon. Spiral mount is equipped with a Devastator cannon. This is going to do 7,500 to 15,000 damage on a 25-day cooldown, 75% accuracy, 30 to 300 range, with an average of 330 damage a day. It does 50% to shield armor hull, and does 750 damage to all ships within 50 of the target, so it's going to deal with corvettes and stuff like that, which means we can build something like this. So here you can see we've got Ancient Pulse Armor and the shield, and it's fitted that out with the shields and armor equally because it's done equal components. Then the modules, they've gone for psionic bombers, psionic launchers, and arc emitters. And then, of course, we've gone for the P slots. It's automatically chosen the P slots because I believe the Arkship just has P slots no matter what. And then it's just designed it with arc emitters, psionic bombers, normal hangers. I guess we also get normal hangers as a thing. Rail guns, I guess we get large slots that are automatic too. Then we've got the G slots, which we've put on. So it's pretty OP, that is. Arkships can have the full spectrum of fleet stances for their combat behavior, but are always equipped with a combat computer with a unique Arkship tactic. The Arkship tactic will set the maximum engagement range of its weapons. The ship can be controlled in combat. Whoa. That means we can select it while it's fighting and move it away. There's going to be micromanaging these Arkships. Overwhelm behavior fleet stance. Evasive, flees hostile targets. Passive, flees hostile targets while below 75% hull. Aggressive, flees hostile targets while below 75. Why are they both the same? I don't know. Finally, all Arkships, except for those operated by the Forever Crews, have the Ordnance Engineering District. This military district normally provides soldier jobs that can be specialized with any of the following, depending on your unlocked technologies. Ordnance Engineer gives housing and warrior drone jobs, or you can do the Military Research Complex, which gives us engineer jobs. Not bad. Or the Shipwright Quarter, giving upkeep to warrior drones, but giving more naval capacity per 100 warrior drones, but also increasing ship build speed by 1.5 per 100. Each district gives 150 of those. And warrior drone jobs from naval support modules plus 50. Void Forges are going to have an upkeep of 1.5 minerals, but they will give armor hit points per 100 fabricators 2% and armor hardening per 100 1%. So you could max out alloys on this military Arkship and get as many damn armor hit points as you want. Fight decks, upkeep per 100 warrior drones, 0.5, but strikecraft damage goes up by 5% per 100. So again, you could make loads of warriors on here and make it go crazy. It also gives 200 warrior drones per district, and warrior drone drops from strikecraft modules, so it's going to self-buff itself. Laser capacitors is doing the same thing, but with energy weapon damage, same as the ammunition lines for kinetic. Missile silos also doing the same, which sounds pretty insane. You can really buff these up, and I'm going to do a military Arkship rush, something about combining OP civics as well by like taking loads of pops onto the Arkship. There is some really wacky combos we can get. I'm very excited for Nomads. It's just going to unlock a lot of stuff you can do that we couldn't do before. Finally, here are some stats. Tier 1 is going to start off with 2,500 HP, so it's not the tankiest to rush down. You could just lose, but that could be funny. It goes up by double at tier 2 to 5,000 and then double again at tier 3. So tier 3 looks very good. Base armor, again, quite low, 1,250, same as shields. This doubles at tier 2, then doubles again at tier 3. The shield regen, 4.375. I believe it doubles and then doubles. Evasion stays at 5, as well as disengagement chance at 2. Then module slots, tier 1 only get 2. Tier 2 get 4, and tier 3 get 7, or 6 regular plus 1 spinal mount. System slots is 2, 4, 8. Max districts 9, 18, 27, so going up by 9. 27 district slots, and we can buff up per 100 of like our damage. We could just max it out. Waystation stockpile collection rate, 125, 375, 625. Max speed stays at 100 and size increases. So G slots are going to do more and more against those upgrades, which I do like because they are quite OP late game. Like using frigates to counter any of your friends running Nomad stuff is going to be funny. It's just going to do better as it goes up. Costs and upkeep. Tier 1 costs 10,000 alloys, 500 influence, and there's a 720 day build time. It's got a 1.5 upkeep in alloys and energy, and it's built as a mega structure by Arkships. Tier 2 to upgrade is only 5,000, then 250 alloys and 900 days upgrade. So the time is longer, but the cost is half. Has a double upkeep in alloys and energy, and it's upgraded using the ship controls tab. And then it's the same for tier 3. However, it takes a little bit longer, and the upkeep's gone up by 1.5. These are expensive to build. Don't lose them. They're like huge, important colonies. I suppose you do get pops as well when you build them. So there's some innate modifiers too. Civilian and military get sensor range only +1 for all tiers. However, the scientific ship gets +2, +3, and then +4. The hyperlane range, again, nothing for civilian and military, but the scientific gets +1, +2, +3. And then the class bonus, civilian gets more harvest production. Science ship gets more survey speed. Remember, we can deep scan, so we can do this again. So getting more later on is not necessarily bad. And then military get fire rate and weapon range. That sounds insane. Especially because we can control them in combat. We can just make them hang back, kite, whatever we're fighting. We can easily take down star bases without ever getting in range, if that's true. Innate weapon slots. Civilian and scientific get 2, 4, and 6 strikecraft, and 4, 8, and 16 point defense. However, military are getting the same on the point defense and strikecraft, but then we get medium guns, 4 at tier 1, 4 mediums and 4 large at tier 2, and just 8 large. So we do lose those medium slots at tier 3, which could be an issue against corvettes. We've then got the actions and the cost. All of them, of course, all Arkships can do these unless specified. We have gone over these in the other dev diaries. Now to concept work for how nomadic wars function, because we haven't really looked at wars yet. Nomadic warfare, nomad on everyone violence. Arkships are colonies. However, as they are not planets, they cannot be bombarded, nor can they be invaded. If you wish to take out an Arkship, your only option is good old honest ship combat, because damage to their hull is equal to their devastation. Okay then, that is really cool. Because now I don't really know if I want to rush someone down with my Arkship, because if we do take heavy hull damage, we're going to be producing way less because the devastation is going to go up, which means your upkeep, the unhappiness, everything. How can we just heal it on a way station though? I don't know. So does that mean I can conquer Arkships as a non-nomad and then cruise around? I'm afraid not. Even if Eldrin thinks it would be hilarious, Arkships will only ever be available to nomads. Neither can use a conquer war goal against nomads, as there is nothing to claim. Hot. Okay, so how do you war them then? For non-nomads, the general flow will always be similar. Once you reduce an Arkship to 0 hull, they will become disabled and drop out of combat. At that point, we intervene in the background. For normal empires, the Arkship will simply remain disabled until the war ends. Once the war goal concludes, we re-enable the Arkship. It will be dealt with according to your war goal. If you're a genocidal empire type, we'll immediately blow them up, leaving debris full of alloys. What about non-default empires, you ask? Critters, leviathans, and simple creatures will disable your hull at 0, and your Arkship will escape to a nearby safe system before re-enabling. Okay, so you can't really die unless you're total war. I don't know if I like that. It's going to heavily destroy your economy because of devastation, but weird. Endgame Crisis will destroy your Arkships. No acceptations. Nice. What about the other way around? What about a nomad conquering a planet? You will not be able to make claims and conquer planets. You'll be able to invade and occupy them, but like any proud nomad, you'll release those filthy balls of dirt once the war concludes. Instead of conquering them, you'll always vassalize the planet dwellers. But what if you desire a more permanent impact on them? Oh no. Planetary purges. A temporary nomadic government overseeing worlds as they are purged of planet-bound life. Temporary empire which funnel all their resources from purging back to their overlord. Okay, I like that. I think what's going to be OP is raiding, taking the pops. I think that's going to be the best thing. Combining civics with that benefit from it, or slavery livestock on your Arkships. But yeah, you can't take land, so there's nothing to claim. Genocidal nomads or nomads using total wars cannot occupy planets. However, any planets they invade will immediately be split off into a vassal. These can be either proper vassals or aptly named purge vassals. Purge vassals are temporary existences who will only exist as long as it takes them to purge all pops on the planets you have conquered. Once they have finished purging, they will transfer over any resources they generated, as well as passing on purge unique effects like necrophages or galactic nemesis. For the Keen Knight, there's a case we have not covered yet: nomad on nomad violence. Nomads are perfectly capable of taking over Arkships from other nomads. To achieve this, we recommend the new nomad raid Casus Belli, which allows a nomad to take over any Arkships and way station they have successfully disabled. Okay, that's going to be very OP then, because we've seen how costly Arkships are. 10,000 alloys. Grabbing them, very important. In addition, nomads also have easier access to the subjugation Casus Belli. As a reminder, normal empires need to be a superior on average in all 3 values: economy, research, and military. However, nomads only need to be superior in military power to subjugate another empire. Makes sense because our economy is weird. What if I'm a normal empire and one of those nomads is encroaching upon my borders? In that case, you will gain access to a new Casus Belli to expel them from your borders, which will delete all their way stations within your borders, move their ships out of your system, and actually force them to respect your closed borders for the duration of the truce. So yeah, you can close borders, they can still come in, but if you win this war goal, you'll get rid of everything, and they can't come into your land for 10 years. Cool. That classifies a lot. We can't take Arkships unless we're a nomad. You can't take planets if you're a nomad, but you can still interact a lot and get benefits from them. I like it. Champion Forge live. Therefore, it's organics and war machines across the galaxy. Welcome back to Champions Forge Live. It goes back as your presenter for the greatest show around. Elias Enclave is focused on delivering glorious free-for-all arena battles to entertain the galaxy. It's a new enclave the Champions Forge Live. Welcome back, contestants. The betting pools are red hot. The fans are buying for more, and we're just finished clearing the debris. Care to break another viewership record? Register us for the next show, introduce us around only Nomad option, purchase combat data on our rivals, tell us more about your events, and well met. Like most enclaves, they have multiple purposes. However, they mainly specialize in lighting up the galaxy and forging legends. Every 20 years or so, they will invite the greatest forces to join in and prove themselves. CFL, the Forge lights again. This is Champions Forge Live, the galaxy's premier source of spectacle and destruction. Registration is now open for the next CFL tournament in the Stellaris system. A glorious free-for-all awaits. Entry requirement: a fleet of at most 25 fleet size, so there's going to be requirements. I'm guessing as the game goes on, it'll get bigger. Victors take the reward, the prestige, and the Grand CFL trophy. You want to forge a legend? Sign up. You want peace and quiet? Too bad. Sign us up, we'll be victorious. Ask us next time, stop sending us invitations. And they are nomadic NPC too. Like any well-respected combat sport, the CFL has weight classes. Starting out in the early game, you can only send in highly optimized strike forces. However, come late game, entire armadas can be pitted against each other. Worry not about losing your fleet, the CFL will ensure that most of the ships make it back. Okay, that's interesting. So they're not going to die, basically. So you may as well enter that then, if they don't die. Champions Forge concluded. The frenzied melee finally falls quiet in the Stellaris system. The Forge goes dark, wreckage drifts through cooling light as emergency beacons stutter back to life. What spectacle, the CFL commentator roars. Voice roar with unfeigned emotion. That's what we came for. That's what the galaxy tuned in to see. First place, bathed in the galaxy's adoration, we tore the trophy from the CFL crew and raised it high. The victory will echo far beyond the arena. Now the galaxy knows to fear our fleets. Was there any other doubt? You get 5,000 trade, the relic Champions Forge Live, and it ends the event change, but we also get opinion. The CFL trophy costs 200 influence to activate. It's going to passively give diplomatic weight from fleet power, which we saw we can get damage from diplomatic weight from Defender of the Galaxy, so plus 30% sounds quite nice. The active effect is to raise it high for 10 years. Our next tradition costs 1 unity. This is quite good early mid game, but later game if you've got all traditions, sucks. But Unity Rush, just enter the tournament and then you get 1 free pick basically. Now you will have to return the trophy when it's time for the next tournament. Some of you might be thinking that if you shoot down the CFL before then, you might get to keep it. Just know that I thought of that. Oh, you should be able to though. As for the other services the CFL can offer, the right price they will let you decide where the next tournament should be. This is excellent as you can pair your fleet combat in a pulsar and overwhelm everyone else. Yeah, you can actually design specific counters. Like if there's no shield, you just go for armor and hull damage. Might be very worth that because the AI are stupid and they will not counter it. They're willing to sell combat data on your rivals, so more damage against them. And finally, if you are a nomad, then they are ready to introduce you to nomadic paragons. Oh, a way to actually force paragons. I like that. And speaking of, Nelly, the content designer, is here to present the 6 new paragons arriving alongside the Nomad DLC. 5 are renowned and 1 is legendary. All 6 are exclusive to Nomadic Empires, and you meet them through the Champions Forge Live Enclave. Special thanks to Chad Inglis, the managing design lead, for bringing them to life. The team always loves working on paragons because they don't follow the same set rules of our typical portraits. They're a one and done type of deal, so we get to go all out on them. Paragons always have more character than typical species portraits, a detailed backstory. That's what makes them so fun. Nomadic paragons come from all walks of life, everything from an eccentric archaeologist to a former soldier hell-bent on revenge. One binding factor being that they are all, in one way or another, part of the Nomads. We see this in their diverse wardrobes and outward appearances, less uniforms and more in-world clothing. So we have Orona Venus, the renowned leader who's a scarred survivor of Purge world, wielding tireless discipline and swearing vengeance against all who committed such atrocities. They're egalitarian. They get XP, more hull, more artillery damage, and they have less unity as a counselor. However, they have the unique trait Oath of the Revenant. With Oron in command, trait effects increase by 5%, up to 20%. For each Purge committing empire defeated in combat. So we can buff their own traits by defeating Purge empires. Interesting. They also then get 5% fire rate, evasion, and less upkeep. You can see some art here on how they're modeled. Montu's got a Chad military leader sort of guy with a rifle, but then eventually they went for blades because it's more personal, and that's where they landed on. With Asher, the Wandering Sage, you get more unity from jobs, amenities, research, and less council speed, I think is what that is. They're peaceful, and they wander the stars, teaching that true wisdom flows like starlight through the void. While Asher serves on the council, elites, job efficiency plus 3% per Death Queen skill level, up to 15%. Asher does not use leader capacity. Ooh. And on the council, they get 15% more XP gain +1 official starting skill level and 3% efficiency for elites. That's pretty nice. Sero the Younger, survey speed, anomaly discovery chance, and some other stuff I can't remember what they do. A materialist, once the creator of a grand archive, Sero the Younger abandoned its endless vaults to seek a nomadic life. The journals overflow with sketches of worlds that breathe, grow, and change. Life in Motion. This leader has 20% survey speed, improves deep scanning when assigned to an Arkship, allows deep scanning of habitable planets. Empire affects its counselor, 5% society research, and unity produced per conserve fauna 1 and society 1. Then have Unit Solace, a governor, spiritualist, but a robot, interestingly. When his people embrace synthetic perfection, Unit Solace chose exile to remain with his ailing son. Now he wanders the stars, tending to the lost and teaching those who will inherit the future. The Destiny trait gives the planet 3% more research, effects increased by 3% for each completed contract up to 15%, and amenities produced per 100 research is 150. I like those traits. Then we have Fal Haskuron, an authoritarian military leader who looks focused on armies. They fought battles for pay, pride, and principle until all three rang hollow. Now he fights for the sheer joy of the struggle and for the trophies it left behind. Successful planetary invasion offers a chance to recover a prized trophy. Trophies are stored in a trophy hall on an Empire capital, stacking its effects. What? I need that. What effects? Oh, they strengthen the armies. Okay. Orbital bombardment damage plus 75%, or army is 25% army damage unless morale taken. Seralu, a xenophile. For one so young, Seralu carries the weight of long roads, yet she possesses a calm that steadies those around her and a strength that asks for nothing. Lots of council stuff like more unity, less district cost, more speed, and council agenda speed. She is the legendary paragon, and the trait is the amnesiac trait, with a story chain that grows out of it. As time passes, scraps of her memory resurface, such as a strange feeling, familiar name, and perhaps even the silhouette of a system she swears she has seen before. Seralu will mark places in the galaxy that pull at her, and if your Arkship is willing to go where she points, you may begin to learn what she's lost. You'll, despite yourself, find yourself rooting for the lost princess. Can't wait to see where you take her, but you'd better keep her safe from the dangers that await her out there, especially since the rewards for aiding Cerula and reclaiming her scattered past are rather extensive. Somewhere in the endless sweep of stars, a voice is calling me home. Very interesting storyline quest to do there. There's, of course, 10-year anniversary merch. And, of course, next week, we are getting closer to the release. So next week, we'll be covering the Stellar Cannon, the Civics of Nomads, the Exodus Jump Spinal Mount, how embarking or settling works, and we'll hunt for our new pre-scripted empire. We'll see you then. Make sure to subscribe so you don't miss that. Go watch my Ship Design 4.3 guide. It's going to help you out a bunch. And I'll see you there. Bye.